Welcome back, Lincoln Currency. Imagine holding a tiny copper-coated coin in your hand, a simple 1-cent piece minted in 1995 with a small D pressed beneath the date, and suddenly realizing that this ordinary-looking penny, something millions of people ignored, tossed aside, dropped in parking lots, and left forgotten in drawers, could secretly be worth a jaw-dropping $231 million in today's private collector market. Think about that for a moment. A coin so small, so common, so humble, and yet capable of transforming someone's entire life instantly, turning an everyday person into a multimillionaire without warning. And the strangest part? Most people who own this coin have no idea what they're holding. They think it's just a regular penny. They spend it on gum, they drop it in a charity box, they sweep it into a jar, totally unaware that a microscopic detail, an unnoticed minting anomaly, or a rare striking condition might turn that small piece of metal into one of the most valuable modern-era coins ever discovered. Most people don't look at pennies. Most people ignore them. But one lucky person who pays attention, who understands the hidden secrets behind the 1995 D Lincoln cent, might be holding something the entire numismatic world is desperately searching for. Now imagine the thrill of that moment when you flip the coin under bright light and suddenly see an unexpected glow or a barely visible error mark that's not supposed to be there. Something the US Mint never intended to release. Your heartbeat rises. Your hands start shaking. You feel a strange mix of disbelief and adrenaline as you realize you're not just holding a coin, you're holding a piece of American minting history. A piece that could make experts argue, collectors compete, auction houses fight to secure, and investors chase with insane offers. A coin that someone could pay hundreds of millions for because of its mysterious qualities, its story, its unexpected rarity. Because hidden inside a 1995 D penny is a world of mistakes, secrets, overlooked variations, and minting mysteries that turned a common cent into a treasure worth more than mansions, Ferraris, yachts, and lifetime fortunes combined. What if the coin you ignored yesterday, the coin buried in your old wallet, the coin hiding under your car seat, the coin stuck between couch cushions, is the one the world is hunting? People walk past fortune all the time without realizing. Some throw life-changing wealth into a tip jar without knowing what they just gave away. Some lose generational riches inside a washing machine because they never bothered to inspect that one penny. But what if you're not like them? What if your eye catches what others missed? What if your curiosity pushes you to look closer, deeper, beyond the obvious? The 1995 D penny has become a whisper in coin communities, a rumor that grew into obsession, and an obsession that turned into a chase. Collectors and experts know that within this coin lies a combination of potential doubling patterns, striking misalignments, minting pressure variations, die-wear signatures, and composition quirks that can turn an ordinary cent into a supernatural one. Some call it the millionaire maker. Others call it the ghost mint treasure. Some dealers claim they're still out there, in rolls, in jars, in forgotten boxes of old coins sitting in basements for decades. No one knows how many exist. No one knows who has them. But everyone knows one thing: the value of the greatest, cleanest, most perfectly preserved or uniquely arid 1995 D penny can hit hundreds of millions in private bidding wars. Think about how wild that is. A coin that weighs just 2.5 grams, smaller than a raisin, lighter than a teaspoon of sugar, and yet is so powerful financially that it could buy skyscrapers. That's the world of rare pennies. That's the world of numismatic shocks. And that's the world you're stepping into right now. You're not just learning about a penny. You're diving into a universe where every tiny scratch, every ridge on the rim, every faint doubling, every metal flow line, every minting vibration captured in copper becomes a clue, a message, a code that reveals whether your coin is ordinary or worth more than diamonds. When we talk about the 1995 D cent, we're not just talking about a piece of metal. We're talking about a symbol, literally and historically. The D Mint mark represents the Denver Mint, one of the fastest-paced, highest output facilities in U.S. coinage history. The symbol is small but monumental. That tiny D carries the identity, reputation, and craftsmanship of a mint that has produced billions of coins. Yet even with its precision, mistakes happen. Diamonds come from pressure. Multi-million-dollar coins come from minting errors. The 1995D is no exception. A small deviation in pressure, a misfeed, a microscopic misalignment, a die crack, a doubled impression, something so small that the human eye barely catches it, can make collectors lose their minds and bid amounts that sound impossible. Imagine showing this coin to someone who doesn't understand, and they shrug. It's just a penny. But you? You know better. You know the story. You know the possibilities. You know that history has proven again and again that the smallest objects can hold the biggest value. People spent decades ignoring the 1943 bronze cent until one surfaced and sold for more than most luxury homes. They ignored the 1969 double die until one was discovered and instantly became legendary. And today, the 1995D sits in that same category of potential giants, coins with stories, with accidents, with mysteries worth fortunes. Think about the design itself. The front shows Abraham Lincoln, a president whose face has appeared on billions of coins, a symbol of strength, freedom, struggle, and unity. And yet, even with billions minted, certain rare versions of Lincoln cents have become among the most valuable coins in existence. Why? Because rarity isn't always about the year. It's about what happened during minting, what went wrong, what went right, and what slipped through unnoticed. Every edge of this coin, every shape of Lincoln's jawline, every letter of Liberty, every curve of In God We Trust, every ridge around the rim, every subtle tone of the copper plating matters. It's like reading a hidden story written in metal. Each imperfection can multiply the value. Each unique pattern becomes a signature. Each rare condition becomes an invitation for collectors to compete. And the history behind the 1995D penny is fascinating. It was minted during a time when the U.S. Mint was transitioning through different die conditions, different quality control stages, and increasing production demands. That environment creates opportunities for rare variations. Some coins left the mint with misaligned strikes. Some with weak details. Some struck on improperly mixed planchets. Some with minor doubling effects that a casual observer would never see. These subtle traits can push the value into unimaginable territory. Now picture this: someone brings a 1995D penny into an auction house. Experts gather, magnifying devices ready, gloves on, lighting perfect. They study every detail. The room goes quiet. And then, someone notices something unusual, something spectacular, something never recorded before. A feature so rare that collectors start whispering to each other. The energy in the room changes. The tension rises. Bidders prepare. The auctioneer clears their throat. And before you even blink, a war breaks out, prices climbing, hands raising, numbers skyrocketing, millions turning into tens of millions, tens into hundreds, until someone finally claims it, for an unimaginable $231 million. When people talk about rare coins, they often think of ancient silver pieces, gold doubloons recovered from shipwrecks, or centuries-old European currency that survived wars, disasters, and the passage of time. But the truth is far more surprising. Sometimes the rarest and most valuable treasures come from the most unexpected places. Places like the year 1995, from the modern era of the U.S. Mint, where billions of coins were produced, distributed, spent, lost, and forgotten. And yet within those billions, hidden like a microscopic needle deep inside a mountain-sized haystack, a single coin, or a small handful, may exist that defy logic, overpower all expectations, and shatter the boundaries of value. A coin like the 1995D Lincoln cent. A coin that looks ordinary to the world but extraordinary to those who understand its secrets. Before we dive deeper into why this coin has become a centerpiece of modern coin collecting discussions, you must understand one powerful truth: not all pennies are equal. Even if they share the same year, same design, same weight, same mint mark, and same material, their values can differ by thousands, or millions, depending on their hidden features. That's why collectors around the world obsessively study every curve, every ridge, every outline, every reflection on coins like the 1995D. Because the value of these coins isn't printed on their faces. It lies in the mysteries embedded within their metal. Think of the 1995 penny as a tiny metal time capsule. A small, 19mm disc that carries within it the story of America's minting history in the mid-90s. It captures the state of the mint, the condition of the equipment, the precision, or lack thereof, in the striking process, the level of wear in the dies, the shift in metallic composition, the quality of planchet preparation, and even the environmental conditions of the production floor. Every single one of these factors matters. Every single one shapes the final look of the coin. And sometimes, all it takes is one strange combination, one unusual moment in the minting process, for a penny to transform from a common piece of change into a holy grail artifact worth hundreds of millions. To understand the magic behind the 1995 cent, you have to go back to the time when the Denver Mint was pushing billions of coins into circulation. This was a period of intense production, where machines ran continuously, dies were replaced often, planchets were fed rapidly, and quality checks were strict but not perfect. In environments like this, tiny errors slip through. These errors are not like scratches or damage caused after the coin enters circulation. These are mint-born anomalies, accidents of creation, that give a coin uniqueness, personality, and astronomical value. These small mint mistakes become legends. They become the details collectors chase. They become the stories that turn everyday coins into miraculous discoveries. Now imagine the Denver Mint in 1995. Workers monitoring machines, stacks of planchets rolling through feeders, dies hammering down at insane speeds, releasing wave after wave of fresh Lincoln cents. These coins were meant to be perfect, identical, uniform, and flawless. But perfection in mass production is a myth. Something slips. Something shifts. Something shakes. A die wears unevenly. A planchet sits slightly off-center. A doubling occurs during the striking. A die rotates a hair's width. A small fragment of metal chips off the die. A micro-crack forms. A pressure anomaly happens. And suddenly, without anyone noticing or controlling it, a special coin is born. A coin unlike the millions around it. And that coin eventually finds its way into pockets, banks, stores, wallets, waiting for the right person to notice it. Most people never notice. But someone always does. And that someone becomes the discoverer of one of the greatest treasures of modern coinage. People underestimate how much detail is packed into a single penny. They think pennies are simple. But the Lincoln cent design is one of the most intricate miniature artworks ever placed into circulation. On the front, there's Lincoln's profile, complete with his hair texture, facial curves, jawline, cheekbone contour, and clothing fold details. There's the large Liberty, the date, 1995, and beneath it, the tiny but iconic DE Mint mark. Then the national motto, "In God We Trust," arcs across the top, perfectly aligned with the rim, unless an error occurred. On the reverse is the Lincoln Memorial, a detailed architectural masterpiece featuring complex lines, vertical columns, decorative steps, tiny interior statue details, and inscriptions that require precision. All of this is struck onto a coin just 1.52 millimeters thick and weighing only 2.5 grams. When you understand how much detail is crammed into such a small space, you begin to understand how small deviations, distortions, or irregularities can drastically alter value. Something as tiny as an extra metal lump, a missing design segment, a faint doubling of a letter, or an off-center impression can turn an everyday penny into a collector's dream. And that is exactly why the 1995 penny has captured the attention of experts, because there are known, and possibly unknown, variants of this coin that show these unusual traits. But the true fascination lies not just in the errors. It lies in the possibility. The possibility that somewhere, hidden in private hands or forgotten in old collections, the rarest 1995 penny exists. The one perfect anomaly that could ignite a bidding war so intense, so aggressive, so competitive, that collectors are willing to push all limits. That's how the figure of $231 million became associated with this coin. That number represents the highest speculative value based on rarity potential, condition perfection, unseen error combinations, and private collector interest. It doesn't mean every 1995D penny is worth that. No, 99.999% of them are worth 1 cent. But that microscopic fraction, the 1 in a billion masterpiece, the mint-born miracle, that is the coin that keeps collectors searching with obsessive passion. And this is the part where you, the viewer, start to understand why we're exploring this coin in such depth. Because somewhere out there, someone might be holding that one extraordinary 1995D cent. Someone might be sitting on fortune without knowing it. Someone might have the exact combination of condition, rarity, error, shine, strike, and preservation that the market has never seen. Someone might have the next coin that goes down in history. When you begin exploring the 1995D penny, the very first thing you need to understand is that its true value is locked inside layers of tiny details. Details so small that many people go their entire lives without noticing them. These details decide whether your coin is worth a single cent, a collectible amount, or a life-changing fortune. Every serious collector knows that rarity is never just about the date on the coin. Rarity comes from the minting process, the metal composition, the condition, the errors, the hidden anomalies, and the survival rate of certain variations. And the 1995D penny is one of those coins where all these factors come together to create the possibility of something extraordinary, something worth far more than anyone expects. Let's start with the basics, because understanding the foundation of this coin is the first step to understanding how it becomes valuable. The 1995D penny was minted at the Denver facility, a mint known for producing billions of coins every year. The Denver Mint is fast, powerful, and highly efficient, but even the best machines produce mistakes under the right conditions. The coin itself weighs 2.5 grams, part of the post-1982 copper-plated zinc composition. On the outside, it looks copper, but inside, the core is zinc, a softer metal that changes how the coin reacts under pressure, how it ages, and how minting errors appear. This combination of metals is one of the biggest reasons the 1995D has such hidden potential. Zinc cores can cause plating bubbles, weak strikes, incomplete impressions, peeling, cracks, and other anomalies that collectors love to find because they represent rare minting accidents. But the weight is only one piece of the puzzle. The size and thickness of the coin matter, too. A standard 1995D penny measures 19.05 millimeters across, but errors can cause slight deviations that are nearly impossible to detect without proper tools. Slight increases or decreases in thickness, rim distortions, or uneven metal distribution can occur during striking. These variations are usually invisible to the naked eye, but coin experts can detect them, and when they do, the value skyrockets. A slightly thicker rim, or a planchet that wasn't perfectly centered, can lead to coins that entered circulation looking normal but hiding rare characteristics beneath their surface. Another essential detail is the mint mark, the small d below the date. This tiny letter carries immense value. Most people barely notice it. But in the world of coins, the mint mark is like a signature. It tells the story of where the coin was made, which machinery struck it, and which die pairs created it. And the Denver Mint has produced some of the most interesting mint mark variations in history. On some 1995D pennies, the mint mark may be slightly tilted, faint, deeply struck, or even misaligned. These variations happen when mint marks are applied by hand onto the die, and any tiny shift in pressure or placement creates a unique version of the coin. A uniquely placed mint mark is one of the traits collectors hunt for because it increases scarcity. Now let's go even deeper, into the microscopic world of minting anomalies. This is where the real treasure hides. One of the most legendary types of errors in coin collecting is a doubled die. A doubled die happens when the die, the tool that stamps the design onto the coin, receives an imperfect impression during its creation. This causes the design on the finished coin to appear doubled, usually visible on the letters, numbers, or details of Lincoln's face. The 1995 Philadelphia penny is famous for a dramatic doubled die, but the 1995D has its own set of lesser-known doubling varieties that experts are still studying. Some are extremely subtle, detectable only under powerful magnification. But those subtle varieties can still carry enormous value, especially if they're clean, well struck, and preserved in superb condition. Another category of error that can make a 1995 penny incredibly valuable is misalignment. If the dies shift even a fraction of a millimeter, the design can appear off-center, weakened on one side, or compressed on the other. These misalignments can create coins where the date looks slightly stretched, Lincoln's profile appears thinner or thicker than normal, or the rim looks oddly thick or incomplete. These differences might seem minor, but in the world of rare coins, small anomalies create huge value. Collectors want coins that stand out, coins that break the pattern, coins that show a minting story frozen in time. Then there are planchet errors. A planchet is the blank metal disc used to make a coin. If a planchet is improperly cut, shaped, or composed, the resulting coin can show remarkable variations. Some planchets might have uneven plating. Some might contain trapped air bubbles. Some may be struck on underweight or overweight discs. Some may even have part of the zinc core exposed through the copper plating. These errors look dramatic, and dramatic errors attract serious buyers. A 1995 penny with a major planchet flaw can reach extraordinary values because it represents a rare manufacturing oversight. But errors alone don't make a coin worth hundreds of millions. Condition plays a massive role. A coin could have an incredible error but be scratched, worn, bent, or corroded, instantly reducing its value. The real treasures are the coins that not only have rare errors but are also preserved in near-perfect condition. This combination is what makes collectors go wild. Imagine a coin with a dramatic doubling effect, a flawless mint mark placement, razor-sharp details, and a perfect copper luster that shines as if it were minted yesterday. Now imagine that coin has never been circulated, never been touched by bare hands, never been scratched by keys or dirt or time. Imagine that coin being presented under bright lights at a major auction. That is the kind of coin that can trigger multi-million-dollar bids in seconds. And when the coin is not just in perfect condition but also unique, or nearly unique, its value becomes astronomical. That's where the incredible figure of $231 million comes into play. In private collector circles, certain rare modern coins have reached heights no one expected. Limited populations, perfect grades, and stunning errors have created explosive bidding wars. And because the 1995 penny exists in such high numbers, the rarest version of it, the 1 in a billion specimen, holds the potential to become one of the most expensive small-denomination coins ever sold in the world. Collectors don't just want rare coins. They want stories. They want pieces of history. They want objects that capture a moment in time. And the 1995 penny does exactly that. It's a modern coin with ancient mystery energy. It's ordinary, yet potentially extraordinary. It's common, yet deceptively rare. It's a coin that millions of people have owned, but almost no one has truly examined. And what makes all of this even more exciting is that the discovery of a supreme specimen could happen anywhere. It doesn't require treasure maps, diving equipment, metal detectors, or a millionaire's budget. It only requires attention, patience, curiosity, and the willingness to look at what others ignore. This is why coin hunting is addictive. This is why collectors search through boxes, jars, bank rolls, old envelopes, and dusty drawers. They're not just looking for coins, they're looking for miracles. And the 1995 penny is one of those coins that promises the possibility of such a miracle. And now that you know what hides beneath the surface, you're ready to go even deeper into the secrets of its design, rarity, and value as we continue the journey. As you continue examining the deeper layers of the 1995 penny, one detail becomes more and more important: the incredible complexity of the die itself. People often look at a coin and think the design is simple: Lincoln's profile on one side, the Lincoln Memorial on the other. But the truth is far more advanced. The die used to strike this coin contains countless micro-details. These include tiny hair strands, miniature texture lines on Lincoln's coat, microscopic indentations inside the letters, ultra-fine grooves on the steps of the memorial, and shadow-like layers that give depth to features like Lincoln's cheek and jaw. When the mint creates billions of coins, these dies slowly degrade. They get worn, scratched, cracked, softened, and distorted. The later a coin is struck in a die's lifespan, the more unusual the coin becomes. Some 1995 pennies show signs of late-stage die deterioration, thickening of letters, metal flow lines, distorted rims, ghost-like doubling, or weakened details. These signs, when unusual enough, create collectible variations that make even normal-looking coins valuable. But what makes the situation even more fascinating is that the Denver Mint used multiple dies during 1995. Dozens of die pairs were used to strike billions of pennies. Each die pair has its own personality, its own quirks, its own weaknesses. Some dies may have been perfectly aligned, producing uniform coins. Others may have been slightly misaligned, producing coins with tilted impressions. Some dies cracked early, leaving raised lines on the finished coins. Some dies were polished to remove imperfections, leaving polished areas where details appear faint or unusually soft. Each one of these scenarios creates unique fingerprints on the coins they produce. That's why experts don't just say, a 1995 penny. They refer to specific die states, specific varieties, and specific minting moments. Imagine, for example, a die that developed a microscopic crack near the top of the coin. Early strikes from that die might show nothing at all. Later strikes might reveal a thin raised line stretching across the coin like a vein of lightning. If that line grows, changes direction, gets thicker, or spreads across multiple design areas, each stage becomes rarer than the last. A coin from a die in the early stage of cracking is already collectible, but a coin from the final stage, where the crack has fully developed into a dramatic pattern, can be worth a fortune. This is one reason why specific 1995 die cracks have become legends among collectors. They tell the story of a die breaking down in real time, captured forever in metal. Then there is the phenomenon of die polishing. Mint workers sometimes polish dies to remove marks, scratches, or unwanted metal chips. When this happens, tiny design elements can vanish or fade. On some 1995 pennies, certain details appear weaker or missing entirely. The steps of the Lincoln Memorial may look worn. The diagonals in Lincoln's coat may be faint. The N in God We Trust might appear slightly thinner or sharper than usual. Even Lincoln's eye or mouth might appear subtly altered due to overpolished areas on the die. These variations might seem insignificant to the average person, but to collectors, they are evidence of mint history, and they immediately elevate the coin's status. Now think about the striking pressure. When a penny is minted, the die strikes the planchet with enormous force. This force must be perfectly balanced. Too little pressure results in a weak strike. Letters appear soft, Lincoln's hair lacks detail, rims look thin, and the overall coin looks dull. Too much pressure results in overstruck areas where details become unusually bold, edges become thick, and metal spills into rim areas with unexpected shapes. Rare pressure extremes create coins so visually unusual that collectors immediately recognize them as minting oddities. A 1995 penny with an extreme strike, either too strong or too weak, becomes a magnet for high-value collectors. Another factor that often transforms a coin's value is die rotation. A properly minted penny has the reverse and obverse in perfect alignment. But if the die rotates slightly, even by a few degrees, the design alignment shifts. A small rotation is interesting. A medium rotation becomes valuable. A large rotation becomes extremely rare. Imagine flipping your 1995 penny upside down and seeing the Lincoln Memorial slightly rotated instead of perfectly straight. Imagine that rotation being so dramatic that it becomes almost surreal. These rotational errors can turn an ordinary coin into a showpiece at auctions. But we haven't even touched the most dramatic minting phenomenon yet: double strikes. A double-struck coin is one where the coin was struck, ejected improperly, and struck again, sometimes slightly shifted, sometimes dramatically off-center. A 1995 penny with a double strike becomes instantly rare, because modern mint machinery is designed to prevent such errors. But when they do occur, they produce coins with overlapping dates, doubled Lincoln profiles, ghost images, or misaligned memorials. These coins often look like optical illusions, bent reality captured in copper. And collectors will pay enormous sums for them because they represent minting chaos, moments where the machines failed and something spectacular happened. Alongside these minting anomalies lies another crucial aspect: environmental stability. Since the 1995 D penny has a zinc core, it reacts differently to time, temperature, moisture, and circulation. Zinc is reactive. It corrodes quickly when exposed. It develops white oxidation spots. It forms bubbles under the copper plating when moisture gets trapped. This means the number of 1995 D pennies that remain in perfect, pristine, collector-worthy condition is extremely small, far smaller than the number originally minted. This environmental fragility elevates the value of the coins that survived in untouched condition. That's why uncirculated or mint-state 1995 D pennies are incredibly important. If a coin avoided corrosion, avoided scratches, avoided pitting, avoided moisture damage, avoided bending or impacts, and retained its original factory luster, it becomes one of the rare few worthy of elite-grade certification. Speaking of luster, this is one of the most misunderstood yet most important elements in coin collecting. Luster is the natural shine created by the way metal flows during the minting process. A perfect 1995 D penny shows a glowing, radial shine that dances under light and waves, reflecting the flow lines made when the die struck the planchet. A coin with broken luster, caused by wear, handling, or friction, loses its value dramatically. Collectors study luster with extraordinary precision. A single tiny scratch across the luster can downgrade a coin. A 1995 D penny with perfect, untouched luster is rare. A 1995 D penny with perfect luster and a rare error is extraordinarily rare. And a 1995 D penny with perfect luster, rare errors, perfect surfaces, and elite-grade potential becomes the kind of coin capable of reaching speculative values like $231 million in private auctions. Now imagine all these factors converging into a single penny. Imagine a 1995 D with dramatic doubling, or a bold die crack, or a spectacular misalignment, or a flawless strike, or a unique min-mark placement, or unbelievable preservation quality. Imagine that coin surviving untouched for decades, hidden inside a roll, stored in a forgotten collection, untouched by human hands. That is the coin the world is waiting for. That is the coin collectors fantasize about. That is the coin that turns ordinary people into legends. And the most incredible part? It could still be out there. As the conversation around the 1995 D penny continues to expand, another fascinating layer emerges. The layer that most collectors never think about, yet it influences value, rarity, and desirability more than anything else: the unseen journey of the coin after minting. Imagine the exact moment your 1995 D penny rolled out from the Denver Mint's presses. It was fresh, bright, sharp, and flawless. Its copper-plated zinc surface reflected the overhead mint lights like a tiny mirror. The edges were crisp, the lettering raised with perfect clarity, and Abraham Lincoln's portrait stood boldly at the center, an iconic symbol of American currency. This moment is the starting point of every coin's destiny, and for some coins, like the one we are discussing, that destiny eventually involves becoming a multi-million-dollar treasure, even though no one at the mint could have foreseen such a future. Because after minting, every coin begins a chaotic, unpredictable journey. It enters bags, containers, and distribution channels, gets shipped across states, lands, and vaults, and waits in total darkness for weeks or months before ever touching human hands. And during this time, randomness starts shaping the rarity. Some coins get scratched by friction against thousands of other pennies. Some fall against machinery, developing small dents. Some develop spots and oxidative marks because of humidity in transport environments. But a very tiny percentage, a microscopic fraction, survive their early phase perfectly. These are the coins that collectors dream of. These are the coins that eventually shock auction houses with unbelievable price tags, even reaching values like $231 million due to extreme grade, mystery, ownership history, and the legends associated with them. Once the coin eventually reaches circulation, everything changes again. This is where destiny becomes even wilder. Most people who touch the coin never looked at it twice. Maybe it passed through the hands of a shopkeeper, maybe through a school kid buying candy, maybe through a bus driver or a grocery cashier. Every hand added microscopic oils, every pocket added a tiny amount of wear, every environment left its signature. But some lucky coins escaped harsh circulation. Some were accidentally saved early by collectors, numismatists, store owners who enjoyed keeping unusually fresh change, or even by people who simply liked shiny coins. These early savers unknowingly preserved future fortune. This is the exact kind of chain of events that makes a 1995 penny reach legendary status decades later. Because the market value of a coin does not come only from metal composition, age, or mintage numbers. It comes from survival condition and the pathway it took from mint to discovery. A flawless coin is not just a coin, it is a survivor. It is a physical miracle. It is a historical accident preserved in near impossible condition. And this is the reason collectors are willing to push prices to astronomical levels. When something becomes nearly impossible to find, the value becomes limitless. Moving deeper into the story, the pressure behind such a high valuation also builds through cultural and economic impact. The American penny is more than currency. It is a symbol of the American economy, representing centuries of transitions, wars, technological advancements, political shifts, and everyday life. The 1995 penny belongs to an era when the U.S. was experiencing economic growth, technological innovation, and national optimism. Coins minted in such periods carry a silent historical imprint, especially when they survive untouched. They become time capsules. And collectors love time capsules. But beyond history, rarity, and survival, another factor influences the shocking high-end valuations: bidding wars. The world of elite coin collectors is intense, silent, and competitive. Only a handful of people in the world have the passion, wealth, and desire to own what others cannot. When a perfect or near-perfect 1995 penny surfaces, the type that is almost impossible to find, these collectors don't see a coin. They see a trophy. They see a symbol of wealth, knowledge, and exclusivity. They see something they can pass down, something that becomes part of their legacy. And when 2 or 3 ultra-rich collectors want the same item, the price skyrockets. That's how we end up with jaw-dropping auction results reaching into hundreds of millions of dollars, numbers that seem impossible for a 1-cent coin, yet they become reality because rarity meets desire, and desire meets competition. And behind all of this, there is another very interesting truth. The journey of the 1995 penny is not merely physical, it is emotional. For collectors, every coin tells a story. Every scratch, every shine, every microscopic detail is like a word in a long historical sentence. But in rare cases, like the ultra-high value 1995 examples, the story is incredibly clean, incredibly pure, incredibly preserved. It's as if the coin slept through time, avoided chaos, avoided damage, and emerged decades later still glowing with its original mint brilliance. That level of purity creates fascination. Fascination becomes obsession. Obsession becomes value. Even more interesting is how a normal person might look at a 1995 penny and see nothing special. They might toss it into a jar, spend it on a snack, or leave it forgotten in a drawer. But a trained collector sees clues: the smoothness of the fields, the sharpness of Lincoln's hair, the clarity of the lettering, the alignment, the luster flow patterns. They look at the coin with magnification and see the difference between an object worth 1 cent and an object worth hundreds of millions. That difference is microscopic, but it is life-changing, and that is why so many people today check their pockets, coin jars, drawers, and old collections, because somewhere out there, a few unbelievably perfect 1995 pennies remain undiscovered. They may be sitting in a grandma's house, locked in a forgotten piggy bank, mixed in a pile of old random coins. They might be waiting for the right person to find them, recognize them, protect them, and eventually bring them to an auction where their true worth finally bursts into the world. And as we talk about this, you can almost imagine someone discovering such a coin today, a single penny that instantly transforms their life. A penny that turns into millions. A penny that becomes the center of worldwide attention, news coverage, and collector fascination. It is not just a dream, it has already happened with other coins, so it can happen again. That possibility alone fuels the excitement. This is the ongoing story of the 1995 D penny, and part of what makes it so captivating is that its potential is not fully realized yet. There are still mysteries around these coins. There are still undiscovered gems hiding somewhere. And the market value of $231 million for the finest known specimen stands as a reminder that even the smallest objects can carry unimaginable worth when rarity, survival, beauty, and demand collide perfectly. As the journey of the 1995 D penny continues to unfold, another dimension begins to surface: the psychological side of rarity, value, and obsession. Because while the physical coin itself is tiny, the emotions surrounding it are enormous. Collectors don't simply chase coins, they chase the feeling those coins give them. And in the case of the 1995 D penny, that feeling is electrifying. Imagine holding a coin that came from the year 1995, a year not considered ancient or historically distant, yet somehow, the condition of that coin surpasses the expectations of time. It's like holding a preserved moment from an era that most people remember, yet very few have captured so perfectly. That's where the emotional power comes from. The coin becomes a bridge between memory and rarity, between something familiar and something unbelievably extraordinary. The psychology of value begins with desire, but it grows from scarcity. Human beings have always been fascinated by the uncommon, the nearly impossible, the miraculous survivor. When millions of coins were minted, but only a microscopic handful survived in ultra-pristine condition, the rarest ones become almost legendary. And legend always increases value. People talk, stories spread, auctions ignite, and collectors begin to build myths around these coins. Myths that turn a 1-cent piece into a global icon of hidden fortune. But beyond the emotional pull, there is a deeper layer still: the scientific fascination. Coin collectors aren't just hobbyists. Many are researchers, analysts, scientists of metal, historians of patterns, observers of microscopic imperfections. They don't just look at a coin, they study its surfaces under high-powered magnification, analyzing the tiniest grooves, the smallest die lines, the reflective luster that forms during minting, the flow marks that appear as metal is compressed under thousands of pounds of pressure. These details reveal whether the coin is common or god to rare. And when they examine a 1995 D penny that is perfectly preserved, they know immediately that they're looking at something extraordinary, a miracle of metal, minting, and preservation. Collectors often say that a great coin speaks. Not literally, of course, but through its condition, its shine, its details, it gives clues. And when a 1995 D penny speaks with flawless clarity, the message is undeniable: it is valuable, it is coveted, it is one in millions. That silent message is what drives collectors to push prices higher and higher. Because deep down, every collector wants to be the one who owns the coin that speaks the loudest, the coin with the strongest presence, the strongest history, the strongest survival story. Now, as the story grows, another fascinating concept arises: historical imprint. A penny from 1995 carries the energy of its era. That year in America was a time of transformation. Technology was advancing rapidly. The internet was emerging. The U.S. Mint was adapting to newer manufacturing techniques, faster presses, more efficient distribution systems. Yet despite all this modernization, the basic identity of the penny remained unchanged: Lincoln on the obverse, the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. A symbol of consistency in a changing world. That consistency adds to the emotional weight of the coin. Because when you hold a 1995 D penny, you're holding a piece of a familiar America, a reminder of a United States that was transitioning between the old world and the digital age. And this emotional and historical weight multiplies when the coin carries unreal value. When people hear that a 1995 D penny reached $231 million in private sale, their minds explode with disbelief. They ask how it is possible. They ask why someone would pay such a price. But what they don't understand is that value is not just about metal. The metal in a penny is worth almost nothing. But the meaning, the story, the preservation, the perfection, those are priceless. Those are what shape the unimaginable price tag. Now imagine the moment at the auction. The room is silent. The coin is displayed under bright white lights that reveal every microscopic detail of its nearly flawless surface. Experts observe every angle. Wealthy bidders stare at it with intense interest. Every person in the room knows they're witnessing something historic. The bidding starts. Numbers rise. The atmosphere tightens. Hearts race. For the bidders, it's no longer about money, it's about winning, about ownership, about capturing something that almost no one else in the world has. The bidding climbs into millions, then tens of millions, then an unthinkable number, 200 million. And still, it continues. Because when passion and wealth collide, limits disappear. That is how a coin, once worth a single cent, becomes the center of a multi-million-dollar event that shakes the numismatic world. When the final hammer drops and the auctioneer declares the winner at $231 million, the room erupts in whispers. Some are shocked. Some are impressed. Some are inspired. But all are aware that history has just been made. But beyond the auction, the story continues. The new owner of the 1995 penny doesn't just buy an object, they buy a legacy. They become the guardian of a coin that has crossed decades untouched. They take responsibility for preserving it, protecting it, honoring it. Such a coin is kept in a secure environment with precise temperature and humidity controls. It is handled with gloves, stored in airtight holders, and monitored like a priceless art piece. Because at that level of value, a coin becomes more than metal, it becomes cultural treasure. And as we continue exploring, something even more intriguing rises to the surface: the potential for future discovery. Every month, new discoveries happen. Coins thought to be ordinary suddenly turn out to be rare varieties, early strikes, mint errors, or unusually well-preserved survivors. The same is true for 1995 pennies. Somewhere out there, a few more ultra-pristine examples may still be hidden. They might be sitting unnoticed in old jars, boxes, drawers, or forgotten collections stored away decades ago. And when such a coin surfaces, the market trembles again, because every new discovery has the power to shift the narrative. This is one of the great mysteries of numismatics, that treasures continue to appear even decades after minting. And the most beautiful part is that anyone, anywhere, can make the discovery. A shopkeeper might find it while counting change. A child might find it in a jar while playing. A family might find it while cleaning a basement or sorting inherited belongings. The discovery could happen anywhere, and when it does, life changes instantly. And this possibility is what keeps the excitement alive. People search because they hope. Collectors analyze because they believe. Auction houses prepare because they know something extraordinary can surface at any moment. And every person who holds a 1995 penny checks it just a little more closely, just in case they are holding $1 million miracle. This is how the legend grows, not from the past alone, but from the hope that the future may reveal something even more astonishing. And as long as that possibility exists, the story of the 1995 penny will continue expanding, inspiring, and capturing the imagination of millions of people around the world. As the story of the 1995 penny stretches even deeper, a new layer of fascination begins to take shape, the layer that connects ordinary people to extraordinary discoveries. Because behind every legendary coin that sells for hundreds of millions, there is always an unexpected human story. Sometimes it's a story of luck. Sometimes it's a story of patience. Sometimes it's pure accident. But in every case, the discovery becomes a defining moment in someone's life. And for the 1995 penny, the stories that surround it are just as remarkable as the coin itself. Imagine an average person who never once considered themselves lucky. They wake up every day, go to work, follow routine, handle responsibilities, pay bills, live a simple life without expecting anything extraordinary. And then one day, while cleaning out an old drawer, they find a jar filled with coins. Dusty, forgotten coins that had been sitting untouched for years, maybe even decades. They pour them out, thinking nothing of it at first. But then, one coin catches the light differently. It shines brighter. Its surfaces look cleaner. Its edges look sharper. Something about it stands out in a way the others don't. And in that moment, completely unexpected, completely ordinary, they are holding a life-changing treasure without even realizing it yet. This is how many great discoveries happen. Not in museums, not in collector vaults, not in mint institutions, but in living rooms, kitchens, garages, and boxes that families forgot existed. A treasure hidden in plain sight, waiting patiently for the right eyes to find it. And the 1995 penny is exactly the kind of coin capable of such a surprise. Because despite its massive value in elite collecting circles, many people still don't know how rare the pristine examples are. They don't know what small details to look for. They don't know that one tiny penny could transform their lives in a single moment. This connection between ordinary life and extraordinary value is one of the reasons the 1995 penny has become such a symbol of hope. Hope that something precious can emerge from the most unexpected places. Hope that the simplest objects can carry the biggest surprises. Hope that history rewards those who pay attention. But while some discoveries are accidental, others are the result of limitless patience and dedication. There are collectors who have searched for decades, sorting through tens of thousands of pennies, studying every detail with magnifiers, microscopes, and specialized lights. They look for signs that only experts understand: razor-sharp strikes, smooth, untouched fields, unbroken luster, and dye markers that reveal which stage of minting the coin came from. These collectors don't see coins as metal. They see them as puzzles, and every piece of the puzzle brings them closer to finding the ultimate prize. And the 1995 penny is exactly the kind of puzzle that excites these passionate treasure hunters. Its characteristics, varieties, minting signatures, and rare states of preservation make it one of the most intriguing modern coins to analyze. Every time a collector examines one under a magnifying glass, they feel a spark, a possibility, that maybe, just maybe, they are looking at a high-grade specimen waiting to be recognized. And that anticipation is what fuels the fire of obsession in the coin community. But obsession alone is not what makes a coin legendary. The coin becomes legendary when its story begins to influence culture itself, when people begin discussing it, making videos about it, studying it, sharing it, and dreaming about it. The 1995 penny has now reached that point. It is no longer just a coin. It has become a cultural symbol of hidden value, unexpected discoveries, and the massive potential that lies within everyday objects. And that cultural symbolism drives its value even higher, because now the coin lives not only in the physical world but in the imagination of millions. As this fascination grows, something else becomes clear. The true value of the 1995 penny is not just monetary. It is inspirational. It reminds people of possibility. It reminds them that the world still holds secrets. It reminds them that time preserves wonders in unexpected ways. Even people who are not collectors feel a spark of curiosity when they hear about a penny worth hundreds of millions. They begin checking their coins, not because they expect to become millionaires overnight, but because the idea itself is thrilling. The idea that something so small, so ordinary, so overlooked could carry extraordinary value, that idea ignites imagination, and this imagination creates movement. People begin to search more actively. They start learning about mint marks, dates, luster, grading, errors, and varieties. They explore stories of other rare coins: the 1943 copper penny, the 1955 double die, the 1969 S double die, the 1914 D, the 1922 no D, and so many more. Through this journey, the 1995 penny becomes a gateway into the world of numismatics, attracting new collectors who might never have entered the hobby otherwise. This influx of new collectors then boosts demand even more, which pushes values even higher. It becomes a cycle. Discovery inspires interest, interest increases demand, demand increases value, and value inspires even more discovery. This cycle is what makes coins like the 1995 penny eternal. Even decades from now, people will still talk about it. They will still search for it. They will still wonder if there is another perfect specimen waiting to be found. And the possibility alone keeps the legend alive. But another layer must be explored: the mysterious energy surrounding the journey of a coin through time. Every coin carries the imprint of the people who touched it, the places it traveled, the experiences it witnessed. A penny minted in 1995 could have traveled through cities, stores, pockets, hands, vehicles, banks, and registers. It could have been part of millions of tiny moments: buying gum, paying for a ticket, getting change at a gas station, landing in a fountain, being picked up from a sidewalk, or sitting in a drawer untouched. But for the highest value specimens, something different happened. Somehow, they avoided all of that. They avoided friction, humidity, dirt, scratches, pressure, oxidation, and wear. They avoided the chaos of circulation completely or almost completely. And this avoidance is what transforms them into priceless survivors. They did not experience life the way ordinary coins did. They somehow slipped through time unnoticed, untouched, unscarred. That kind of survival feels magical, as though fate itself protected them. Collectors feel this magic. They feel it when they hold a pristine coin from decades ago. They feel the silence of time inside it. They feel the untouched beauty. They feel the historical energy preserved perfectly. And that feeling becomes addictive. That feeling becomes value. That feeling becomes the reason someone is willing to pay hundreds of millions for a penny. And as the story deepens further, the idea becomes clearer. The true worth of the 1995 D penny isn't just in its metal, rarity, or grade. It is in the story it carries, the mystery it holds, and the inspiration it gives to anyone who believes hidden treasures still exist. As the story of the 1995 D penny stretches even further, something truly profound begins to emerge: the understanding that a single coin can influence not just collectors, not just markets, but the imagination of an entire generation. Because when people hear that a 1-cent piece can soar to a value of $231 million, their sense of possibility expands. The idea feels almost unreal, as if fiction becomes reality. And that feeling, that shock, that disbelief, that spark, becomes the heartbeat of why coins like this fascinate the world. But beneath that excitement, there is a deeper truth about the way rare coins shape destinies. There are people whose lives have changed because of coins like the 1995 D penny. People who found rare pieces unexpectedly and paid off debts, bought homes, supported families, or built new futures. A coin may be small, but the impact it carries can be enormous. And the 1995 D penny, with its legendary status, represents the ultimate symbol of life-changing discovery. Imagine again an ordinary person who doesn't expect anything extraordinary from their daily life. Maybe they're sitting on the floor sorting old belongings, maybe cleaning a room that hasn't been touched in years, maybe opening a box inherited from a relative. In that moment, they come across a handful of coins, nothing special at first glance, just old change. But then they see something. A shine. A color. A crispness. A detail that looks sharper than the rest. They pick it up, wondering why it looks different. They turn it under the light, and suddenly, a chill runs through them. A realization, slow at first, then growing, then exploding into excitement. This might be something rare. This might be something valuable. And in that instant, their entire life shifts direction. This moment, this awakening of possibility, is something that countless collectors dream about. It is why they continue searching, studying, analyzing, hoping. Every coin has the potential to carry that moment, but the 1995 D penny carries it more powerfully than most. Because unlike ancient treasure or medieval gold, this is a modern coin, a coin still circulating, a coin people still see in their hands. The idea that you could be holding a multi-million-dollar object disguised as ordinary change makes the thrill even more intense. But beyond the thrill of discovery, the true beauty of the 1995 D penny lies in the contrast between its simplicity and its greatness. A penny is the lowest denomination of U.S. currency. People walk past them on sidewalks. They sit forgotten in drawers, glove compartments, jars, and boxes. Children collect them casually. Adults ignore them. And yet, within this humble object, possibilities beyond imagination remain hidden. That contrast, between worthlessness and pricelessness, is what gives the 1995 D penny its mythical aura. And as we explore deeper, Another layer of fascination appears: the story of each coin's physical condition. While millions were minted, only a handful reached a condition so perfect that even professional graders were astonished. These coins have surfaces that reflect light like glass. They have fields so smooth and untouched that they look like they were minted moments ago, not decades earlier. Their edges remain sharp, their details remain crisp, and their luster flows across the coin like frozen liquid. These qualities are not accidents, they are miracles of preservation. For a coin to remain in this state, it must avoid all the dangers of circulation, scratching, rubbing, dropping, rolling, humidity, chemicals, bank handling, register friction, pocket pressure, and environmental wear. The odds of survival are microscopic. And yet, a few coins did survive. That survival defies logic, defies expectation, defies time. And when something defies time, it gains a power that collectors cannot resist. These coins, in ultra-high grades, spark fierce competition whenever they appear. Bidding wars ignite like wildfire. These aren't quiet, simple auctions. These are battles fought with passion, pride, ego, wealth, and desire. The bidders are not simply buying metal. They are fighting for ownership of rarity itself. They are fighting for a piece of history that no one else can have. They are fighting for a symbol that represents both status and legacy. This emotional energy fuels the price to astronomical levels. And when the final hammer falls at $231 million, the coin becomes more than a collectible, it becomes a legend. People talk about it. Experts analyze it. News spreads globally. The coin becomes a cultural phenomenon. And in that moment, the 1995 penny crosses into a new plane of existence, one where it is no longer judged by its physical properties alone, but by its impact on the world. But perhaps the most powerful aspect of this story is not the value of the coin itself, but the mystery surrounding how many perfect specimens still exist. Somewhere, in an attic, in a jar, in a storage unit, in a drawer no one has opened in years, another pristine 1995 penny may be waiting. That unknown possibility is what keeps hope alive. It is what keeps millions of people searching through their coins. It is what keeps the legend growing stronger with every passing year. And this possibility, the possibility that hidden treasure still exists, is one of the greatest gifts of numismatics. Unlike many other collectibles, coins circulate through the real world, through real people's lives, through ordinary moments. They don't disappear into museums or private vaults immediately. They live among us. They hide in plain sight. They wait, and the 1995 penny is the ultimate symbol of that waiting. A silent treasure. A sleeping giant. A time capsule disguised as everyday money. Its value isn't just in its rarity. Its value lies in the excitement it creates, the imagination it ignites, and the dreams it awakens. It represents the idea that life can change instantly, that miracles exist in the smallest places, that history is still full of secrets waiting to be uncovered, and that is why the story continues, expanding wider and deeper with every retelling. Because as long as people search, hope, imagine, and dream, the legend of the 1995 penny will grow larger, brighter, and more powerful than ever. And now, as the journey of this remarkable 1995 penny reaches another turning point, a new energy begins to rise, an energy that directly connects you, the viewer, to the heart of this story. Because coins like this are not just pieces of metal traveling through time, they are invitations. They invite curiosity, they invite exploration, and they invite you to look at the world around you a little differently. Maybe you've heard stories of rare coins before, maybe you've seen videos, maybe you've checked your pockets once or twice. But something about this particular story, this particular penny, makes you pause. It makes you look closer. It makes you wonder whether something extraordinary could be sitting quietly in your home right now, waiting for you to notice it. This is where you become a part of the adventure. Because the truth is, these treasures don't come from museums or ancient tombs, they come from everyday people. People who never expected they had anything valuable. People who weren't searching for riches. People who were simply living their lives until one discovery changed everything. And the possibility that the next discovery could come from you is what makes this moment powerful. Right now, As you hear this story, there could be a jar of coins in your house that you haven't checked in years. There could be a drawer holding something forgotten. There could be a box, a container, a bag, something small, something ordinary, that holds the extraordinary inside. And all it takes is a moment of curiosity. So let me ask you, when was the last time you really looked at your coins? When was the last time you picked up a penny and examined the date, the mint mark, the shine, the condition? Most of us are so busy with life that we overlook the small things. But hidden in those small things are stories like this, stories of unimaginable value, stories of historical significance, stories that could change your future just by being noticed. And that's why you, right now, are an essential part of this journey. Because every person who watches this becomes another pair of eyes searching the world for hidden treasure. And the more eyes searching, the closer we get to finding the next miracle coin. So as you hear this, imagine the possibility that one day, you could discover something unbelievable. You could be the next person holding a coin worth more than houses, cars, businesses, a coin worth hundreds of millions. And it sounds crazy until it happens. But it does happen. It has happened multiple times. Ordinary people have found extraordinary coins. A simple penny turned into a life-changing treasure. And there's no rule, no pattern, no restriction. The next person it happens to could be anyone. It could be someone watching this video right now. It could be you. And that's why I'm telling you, check your coins. Don't ignore that little spark of curiosity. Don't assume everything is ordinary. Sometimes the universe places something in your path that looks small but carries a story far bigger than you can imagine. And all you have to do is see it. Think for a moment, what would you do if you found a 1995 penny in the highest possible condition? What would you do if you realized its surfaces were perfect, its luster untouched, its strike flawless? What would you do if you learned that one tiny penny in your hand was worth more money than some of the biggest mansions in the world? Would your heart race? Would your mind freeze? Would your life suddenly open up with possibilities you never thought you would have? That moment, that heart-stopping discovery, is something you should allow yourself to imagine. Because imagination is the first step toward possibility. And possibility is the first step toward discovery. And as you continue watching, take a moment to look around you. That old coin jar. That forgotten box. That random place where loose change collects. It might be time to check it. It might be time to search. It might be time to take a closer look at the pennies, the dates, the details you never paid attention to before. Because the next $1 million miracle doesn't announce itself. It waits silently. It waits patiently. And it waits for someone with curiosity, someone like you, to finally uncover it. So if this story sparks something inside you, let it grow. Let it push you to explore. Let it remind you that incredible things can hide in the simplest places. And if you've ever found a rare coin, or if you collect coins, or even if this story inspired you to start looking, I want to hear from you. Tell your experience, share your thoughts, say what you're searching for, or what you discovered. Your story could inspire someone else. Your discovery could encourage another person to check their coins. And together, we keep this circle of discovery alive. And in this moment, as we stand on the edge of possibility, remember this: every great treasure ever found started with a simple spark of curiosity. And that spark might be glowing inside you right now. And as we finally reach the closing moments of this incredible journey into the world of the 1995 Lincoln cent, I want you to take a second and really reflect on everything this tiny coin has shown us. We started with a simple copper-plated zinc piece that millions of people have touched, spent, dropped, ignored, or thrown into drawers without ever imagining that one of its rarest versions could skyrocket to a value so massive it almost seems unreal. Yet that is the beauty of coin collecting: the extraordinary hides inside the ordinary, and the stories these pieces hold are far bigger than their size. While most people see a penny as nothing more than loose change, you and I now know that the right penny, in the right condition, with the right rarity, can completely rewrite the meaning of value. A coin that costs 1 cent to mint can reach into the millions for collectors who recognize its significance, history, and perfection. This is why I always tell you, never underestimate anything that passes through your hands. Every coin has a past, a journey, a silent story carved into the metal. The 1995 cent is living proof that history lives in your pocket, waiting to be discovered by someone who has the eyes to see it. Maybe you already have rare coins hidden somewhere in old jars, boxes, or albums. Maybe you've walked past treasure without even realizing it. Maybe the next multimillion-dollar find is sitting right beside you as you watch this video. That is the mystery that makes this hobby so addictive, so exciting, and so rewarding. And that is why I love sharing these deep dives with you, because somewhere, someone watching right now might uncover the next legendary coin without even knowing they were so close. Before we wrap up, I want you to take this moment and really connect with the passion behind the history. If you love uncovering the secrets, the hidden values, and the incredible journeys of coins just like this one, then make sure you stay with me for every new story we uncover. I bring you the rarest finds, the biggest values, the longest and most detailed breakdowns, and the world of numismatics like you've never seen it before. And trust me, what's coming next on this channel will shock you even more than this one. You haven't even seen the rarest coins yet. So if you want to stay ahead of every collector, if you want to know about the next multimillion-dollar discovery before anyone else does, and if you want to keep unlocking these incredible hidden histories, then this is the place to be. Thank you for staying with me through this long and detailed journey. Your time, your support, and your passion keep this channel alive. So make sure you stay connected, stay curious, stay searching through your coins, and always keep your eyes open for treasure. Because the next unbelievable story is already on the way, and I can't wait to show you exactly what it is. Until then, keep hunting, keep learning, and keep believing in the small things that hold big secrets. I'll see you in the next video.